Alright, we're gonna take a quick look at some trestles. This is a straight square trestle bent, and as you can see, it's just one big giant square. And when I was researching all this, there are about as many different trestle bents as you've got imagination. These actually were given to me by a gentleman that owns Garden Texture, and he had no use for them, so he gave them to me. So I used them just to come up with a couple of ideas and whatnot. And here is the trestle bent that I am going to be using, and 5 across, roughly 17 inches high, and it's going to get cut down for my trestle. The key to this entire process is a jig. And I built my first jig not too long ago, and wasn't what I thought, but I borrowed 2 jigs. This first one is this is from Greg Williams, a gentleman in our club, and you can see it's just a scrap piece of plywood that he cut and drew everything out, and then just used some scrap lumber and tacked down. And the wood pieces just go right in, and simple as that. The jig that I'm actually using is this one. I know it looks complicated, but it's actually pretty darn simple. This one's from Robert Lang, and he let me borrow this one, and I'm going to show you how I built a trestle, and then I think we're actually going to do something a little bit different with the same jig, because I've got a little project, and so we're going to tack that on the end of this. Okay, so we've got our trestle jig in place, and you saw me earlier cutting up all of the wood, and so I've got all of my cedar. This has been dried out for a few weeks, and it's been ripped down. Now, as far as the cross members and the support, these are already pre-cut, and these were pre-measured and pre-cut beforehand. I've got piles right behind me ready to go. This is my favorite glue. I've had a lot of really good luck with it, Gorilla Glue. They make 2 kinds. They make a polyurethane, which is like a gel, and it foams up. You add water to one side of the joint, and then you leave the other side with the glue on it, and when the water and the gel mix, it causes the glue to react. This is just your standard wood glue. Doesn't foam up, dries clear. I've got several projects outside with it for a couple of years with this stuff, and they've been holding up great. So that's what I use. You can find this Home Depot, Lowe's. And then last but not least, I'm using a air nailer, and using a 3/4 inch nail. I tried some stuff with pin nails, and those were just really too small, so I've switched over to using a 3/4 inch. This is an 18 gauge brad nail and a nailer, and really the nails are just to hold it temporarily until the glue dries, which takes a day or two. So the nails really aren't structural per se, but just to hold it in place until all the glue dries. Alright, and so now we're gonna walk through building a trestle bent, and then we're gonna do another little project. So, alright, so we are gonna build a trestle bent, and it takes multiple of them to make a trestle. So I've got all my wood pre-cut. Usually spend the first half of the day or building session, whatever you want to call it, just cutting wood and getting everything prepped. I usually make a lot more than I know I'm going to need in case a piece of splinter, whatever, and then I also try to cut the pieces so that I don't get any knots or anything like that in it. And so basically just going to come in and put in my pieces. And I've got a piece of wood standing in for my top. So I'm going to slide all these up, drop them in. And just like that. And at this point, I'm going to put just a little drop of glue across each one. Already got these pre-cut, so it's just a matter of bringing them in and then coming in carefully. Again, the nails just to hold it until the glue dries. And come down here, drop glue. And that in. 3/4 inch brad. Everything looks good there. And now I'm gonna do my top brace. I just eyeball where these are going to fall. Again, the glue dries clear, so if I get a little and at this point I lift the trestle up, out, and I've got this. And at this point, I'm going to put in my other cross piece. And for these, I'm just going to, for the long ones, I just put a strip of glue all the way across. Drop it right in there. And then just a quick and there we've got what is the beginning of a trestle bent. Depending on how tall you need them, you keep the bracing going. These are most going to get a cut about here, but I went ahead and made these a little bit longer. And at this point, I'm going to show you how I trim the bottom and the top. I'm not super great with angle cuts and all that, but I've made another little jig that takes care of that. Okay, so here's the trestle bent. Now, as you notice, when we put it down on the ground, it rocks back and forth because all the pieces are the same length, and the top part's not level. In order to correct this and make it easier, instead of having to pre-cut all the pieces with the correct angles and not knowing how my length, because I've got the trestle's got a slope, I've made this jig. It goes onto my sled, and basically it comes into here, and I can turn it and lock it down, and then just run it right through and trim it right up and straighten it out. I can turn it around on this side and turn it opposite way, do the same thing, trim up that side, and then put my top part on and do my bottom part. And that is basically how you build a trestle. The top part I have all pre-cut as well, and once I get that leveled up, drop the glue on the top, nail, and it's set to go. Once the glue's dry on this side, I'll come to the back side and do the back side as well.